Welcome to this short demo of Entrian Acoustic Drums. Here's a patch with a simple bass line and pad, and we're going to build a drum groove over it. There's lots of ways to record a groove. I'm just going to use my PC keyboard. Now I'm not much of a drummer, so to make it easier to record, I'm going to halve the clock rate. The 10 number keys on my keyboard will then record into the 10 channels here. So it's 1 for the kick, 2 for the snare, and so on. Okay, that's good. Now, I want a hi-hat every 8th note. I can click to add them, or I can hold down the A key and sweep with the mouse. The quantization settings over here control how often notes appear when you do this. Now, we'll pull down some of those notes into the open hi-hat channel. I want to make some of these hi-hat notes into quick little 16th grace notes, so I'll change the quantization, move the notes, and make them quieter. I can control drag a note to change its velocity, and then I can repeat that same edit for the other notes by pointing at them and pressing the R key. Okay, nice. Now let's add a crash cymbal to kick off the bar, and then we'll put the clock back to normal. Each of the notes has a bunch of editable properties, which you can edit here in the Note Properties dialog. Accent, velocity, and you can add flams and such like here as well. We'll add some dynamics by accenting some of the snare notes. On the right here are some probability properties for adding randomness to the notes. Let's randomise the velocity of this hi-hat note, and then apply that same edit to the other hi-hat notes by holding down the R key and sweeping across them with the mouse. Finally, let's turn this last snare note into a short roll with a little crescendo on the velocity. Okay, nice. So there's our groove. You can have up to 25 different named phrases in here, selectable by CV input, and you can copy and paste phrases between these 25 slots. Now let's look at some of the modulation that's available in the drum module. I'm going to turn down everything but the snare. So, pan speaks for itself. Distance is how far away from the instrument the virtual microphone is, from very close up to right out into the room. Here you get a very close, dry sound, and then as you move outwards you get more stereo spread and more ambience from the room. Tuning tunes the pitch of the note up or down, so you can fine-tune the instrument to the exact pitch that suits you, or, if I bring the kick back in, you can find a completely different sound. Now let's look at how the velocity layers work. I'll just use the kick for this. Velocity layers are about how hard the drum is hit. So here you have a hard hit, and then softer still. Now this isn't so much about how loud the note is, but how punchy the sound is. The module will choose the right velocity layer for the volume of note that it's playing, but you can override that here. Let's bring everything back to normal by selecting the balanced preset. And let's start the bar not with a crash, but with a gong. Sometimes changing the tuning gives you a whole new instrument. Most of these things are CV-controllable, so there's plenty of scope for modulating them. Now let's have a look at the presets. The balanced preset is the default. The kick pieces are slightly spread in the stereo picture, microphone distances are middling. If you prefer a very dry sound, say because you're going to apply your own ambience using other rack modules, there's a preset for that. Here it is, with some external reverb added. Or if you want maximum room ambience, use the big room preset. The laid back preset adjusts the velocity layers, so you only hear the softer hits. And the full on preset does the opposite, setting everything to punchy high velocity hits and switching in the most noisy instruments. Randomise, that does what it says. enough silliness. Let's mute these other instruments and stop the clock. You can play the drum module directly by clicking on it and hitting your number keys from 1 up to 0. Let's have a look at the other instruments. We have 2 crash cymbals, a higher one and a lower one. We have a ride cymbal, which you can play on the bow or on the bell. Then we have toms. I mentioned earlier how tuning can give a whole new instrument. How about tuning these down into timpanis? Then we have a few other instruments. A cabassa, which is a type of shaker. If your music needs more cowbell, then we have that. There's a tambourine and some percussion sound effects. Finally, some magic. There are a couple of other things worth mentioning here. The panels have both a light and a dark theme. Docking these 2 modules next to each other like this connects them together automatically, so you don't need to string 30 patch cables across. As well as the mixed outputs here, each instrument has its own independent outputs, so you can apply effects, EQ, side chaining and so on to the individual instruments. In the sequencer, the current phrase is normally selected by applying a pitch CV here, where the 25 notes from C3 up to C5 select the 25 phrases. But you can treat this input as a trigger instead, and have it either skip to the next phrase or select a phrase at random. So I hope that's been a useful overview of Entrian Acoustic Drums. Thanks for watching.